Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Just a few notes before we start. I have the Team Anabolic Bodybuilding member site up and going now, so links in the video description below if you guys want to join. It's pretty affordable, and we do a weekly Q&A call or a topical call where you guys have not one-on-one, but small group access to me. And also we have a nice group of people on the message board. Amy can tell you that, where we are sharing information with each other. I got a few IFBB pros in there. So far so good. We're only up a month, but I'm actively involved in answering questions daily. But I think it's a good value if you want to check it out.
Yeah,
and
highly recommend.
What's new, guys?
Not a whole lot. What do we think Cbum's going to announce tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's going to retire. I don't know what, I mean, if I was in his shoes, I don't know what he's got left to prove at this point. I know he has that autoimmune disorder. I think that affects his kidneys, so I don't think he can press the gear too much. I mean, and he's making a ton of money from social media. Didn't he just have a kid too?
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would think he's probably thinking about his future moving forward, and it looks like Wesley's coming like a freight train to me.
Yeah.
He finally has some diet face on his stories. He's getting lean.
Yeah, I mean, Cbum might not be the Olympia champ this year.
Yeah. Well, and Jennifer Dory pulled out too, so it's going to be, that shakes up everything for bikini.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Something was going on with her health or something, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. She didn't expound on the reasons, at least on the social media that I saw. But I mean, people were saying like, congratulations on your new venture. I mean, maybe there's something else going on in the background. Either way, I mean, it's going to be pretty interesting to see just the shift without her there. I mean, she's, been the standard for quite a few years.
We all know that prep takes a lot out of you. And if you don't have 100% to give to it, it's just like you can't put your best out there. Honestly, I don't know how I did it this year with everything I had freaking going on. It was hard to stay focused, but yeah, I would imagine with Cbum, it's probably I could be wrong, but I would imagine, just speculating, I would imagine he's probably done. There's really nothing left for him to prove at this point, unless he wanted to move up to open, and I just don't think for his health that probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Moving up to the open, I don't know, but he's making a ton of money, and I'm sure he's got potential to continue to make a ton of money from social media if he so chooses and continues to go that route.
Well, and he has a supplement brand and like everything else going on, so he's got a lot. Got a lot going on.
My dog's back here barking at nothing. So.
Oh, there's something.
Oh, he's barking at the other dog. He's blocking him from getting up on the bed. That's what's going on back here.
It is weird in prep, though, that you don't even realize like how out of your mind you are. Like you said, Paul, like how did you get through it? Well, you don't realize at the time that you have a lot. You just keep doing it. It's looking back on it where you realize how hard it was.
No, you're just on autopilot. Ephedrine and caffeine help a lot too.
Do you? So were you two specifically getting really fatigued?
Me, I don't think I think I have less energy now.
Really?
Yeah, less energy, less motivation now that I'm actually eating and feeling like a real person again. I'm hyper productive when I'm on prep.
Interesting. How about you, Amy?
Yeah, I think there is something about like you get so focused that again you kind of block out the tired, the anything else, because you really have to be very focused on everything, which is why you can reach like a pretty highly productive state, I find, during prep, because you have to, you've got so many things you have to do. You just have to get everything done. But as soon as like, well, when you don't have an hour of fasted cardio in the morning, like, what do you do with that time? You're going to be super productive. Like, no, you're probably going to do nothing. So, I think the motivation does shift. And I actually had this conversation. A friend of mine competed, she's figure, and competed in her first show. She did the show I did, and she actually placed first in her novice category and did so great, and was planning on doing a show here in November. And yesterday she texted me and just kind of said she was feeling like she didn't want to pose. She kind of wasn't that she wasn't feeling motivated, but she just was like not sure what's going on. I'm like, you have like post-show blues. And she had no idea that this was something that's normal and expected. And like, she's young, she's in her 20s, but the fact that her coach didn't talk to her about any of that, like that come down from a show and just what to expect, especially when you have like kind of an awkward amount of time in between your shows. I mean, she had like 2 months. So it's not like there's a show right away. So you don't have that like immediate need to kind of stay so focused. So it's like you can relax a little, but then if you relax too much, and she's really in that weird limbo place. So it was, she was like so thankful. She's like, I had no idea. She's like, I had no idea that people experience this. I'm like, yeah, men, women, everybody will experience it to some, I mean, even me, even between my shows, like I feel like I've had a little bit of a, some weirdness, even with shows that are close together, you still get that kind of up and down emotionalness in between.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. I like with dudes, there's the whole, Kurt, you can talk about this too, but like I've seen it with guys afterwards. A lot of dudes really fuck up, and they just, I actually did it the wrong way this year, where I just dropped everything cold turkey. And then you have this huge hormonal rebound, like your estrogen blows through the roof, and you drop all the stems. I did taper off the stems, and then it's just this huge crash afterwards. And I don't know, it's almost like you get like depressed and binge eat all at the same time. Me, I don't want to eat. I'm the opposite of most people, but so like I think you have to have a strategy for coming out of a show too, like where you taper off over everything and just kind of be careful.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've seen post show with people, Kurt.
It depends on the person, but yeah, I always have them. If assuming they're done, I'll have them. They'll usually leave the stimulants in for at least another week to come off slow, right? Because you don't want to crash from that, because you're already going to crash when you eat all that food. I want guys to eat 1 or 2 cheat meals and then go right back to macros, depending on where they were, 6 to 8 weeks. That's the biggest mistake, is you see the guys just balloon up.
Yeah, binge eat.
Because you can definitely grow if it's done right? But generally, it's just test. I don't really want to add a lot of stuff post show. I want their health to come back.
But Paul, like leading up to getting on stage, you said you don't get fatigued, or you don't feel that bad?
I'm sure I am fatigued. I'm just numb to it, and then probably the stimulants are you just
Ryan, the fatigue, a lot of it comes from when you got to lose a ton of weight. So if guys stay in better shape, like I stay really, like I'm not competing, but I stay really close to that condition all the time. So I'm not tired. I could get on stage and not even know I was getting on stage. It's when you got to lose 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 80 pounds.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's just, your brain is just a mess at that point. That's why you should never get fat.
Yeah.
We've all done it, but you shouldn't do it.
I mean, my situation this year, Kurt. I started prep at 250 and got on stage at 250.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but that's like ideal.
I mean, it's the only time in my life it's ever happened. So, ephedrine, Marty says ephedrine, caffeine are the best friend. Yeah, they are good for productivity. Man, if I have a day, I'm terrible, man. I sound like a damn drug addict, but if I have a day where I need to bang out some stuff, like if I got a lot of work to do, there's nothing that beats some Broncaid.
Yeah. And for appetite too. Works better than, probably safer than a GLP.
Yeah, man. Oh man,
yeah, I said that out loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of GLPs.
I'm not either. I mean, I guess it's better than being morbidly obese. I mean,
anything's better than that. But when you see people come off of them and you see with their labs, it does screwy things to the body when you come off.
Yeah, and then I'm sure you've seen it, Kurt. Although I've heard it's rare, but I don't know. I've seen it happen with a few people. The permanent gastroparesis that happens?
It can cause it for sure. And you see strange stuff like ketone bodies in blood after. You see like lipids get really skewed after you come off that stuff. A1C can be screwed up, blood sugars, like fasting blood sugars screwed up.
Yeah, well, that's part of what they're seeing too with people who are having like that really rare ocular side effect is that they're seeing such a rapid drop in blood sugars that it's causing some like crazy symptoms. It's like it's so harsh. It happens so quickly. And I mean, then you think the reverse is going to happen when you come off of it, even though it has a relatively long half-life. I mean, by the time that's all out of your system, I mean, talk about a shock. I mean, it's a pretty heavy medication that I think people are just really taking haphazardly.
I've been kind of looking at the Ozempic face that people have been talking about, and it seems to me that's more malnutrition, right? If you're using so much that you're not eating anything, then you're getting that gaunt appearance from malnutrition.
Yeah, it's just diet face.
Yeah, right.
That's all it is.
And,
and it just happens fast. Yeah.
And we don't get it. Like if you're using gear and you diet, you don't get the same diet face as you do if you don't use gear, right? Because it's like your muscles and stuff in your face are developed from the steroids.
Yeah,
right. It gives structure.
They lose the muscle tone in their face too.
Yeah, and it has to be like what I've learned is, just from a lot of data and a lot of treating people is when you're in a catabolic state, most people are actually obese because their hormones are low, because they're in a catabolic state, right? And you're burning more muscle mass than fat stores. If you're in a catabolic state and we just throw GLP-1s on top of it, you just suppress your appetite. You're not fixing the root of the problem. So, yeah. So people tend to, when you throw a GLP-1 on somebody who has low hormones, you're losing a lot of muscle mass. That's when you get like kind of more skinny fat. That's when you're not, like Kurt said, you're not developing the proper muscle. I mean, that's why like a lot of times I think that using hormones is important in conjunction with a GLP if it suits you and your circumstance and your context. But we need to fix your hormones too, because that's the main reason a lot of people are overweight and obese.
Well, I'm going to disagree with that because it's which came first, the chicken or the egg. All the data, all the meta-analysis don't show that the hormones are causing the issue. So the hormones go down from the obesity, not the hormones. So when they've looked at huge population studies on this stuff, they found that there's no difference in hormones, thyroid function, any of those things between obese people and not obese people. What is dysregulated is appetite. So whereas most people can sit down and they understand the fill and the fullness, obese people, that's dysregulated. So that's where something like a GLP helps. The hormones then, when you get really heavy, clearly your hormones go down the toilet. And those people also aren't exercising. They're not right. They're not eating right. So, but it's not necessarily like they have low testosterone or poor. You never see poor thyroid function in men. Like you never, unless your estrogen's high. It just doesn't happen. It's super rare.
It's really rare. It's
really rare in men. Like I hate when guys go on thyroid medicine because it's just not a thing. You got to fix something else. It's not a hormonal thing. That doesn't mean your testosterone's not low, but if you got 40% body fat, your testosterone's going to be low and your estrogen's going to be high. And then subsequently your thyroid's going to go down the toilet.
Is that a result, the low testosterone, of more of it converting to estrogen on obese people?
Yeah, and the hypothalamus is really dysregulated too. It's just not signaling correctly anymore.
Yeah.
So it'll sense, as estrogen goes up, the similar way Clomid works, when estrogen goes up, it will shut down a lot of that feedback loop to produce more hormones.
There go the dogs. Somebody rang my doorbell.
There is something though about people who have been obese, and we see it more so. I mean, we're seeing it now with Ozempic, but you saw it a lot with bypass. People who would have gastric bypass or any type of weight loss surgery. There is just a look about them that is unique. Let me just put it that way. Like you can tell a person who has lost, and it's different even than people who have lost weight on their own. We do we do so many big surgeries on people who have like lost 100 pounds. Well, the people that have lost 100 pounds, and I'm saying on their own, this is no judgment for people who get weight loss surgery, look different than people who have had weight loss surgery. And I think it comes down to a micronutrient, malnutrition status, especially for people who have, RNY. I mean, it is a malabsorptive surgery. Like you are somewhat malabsorptive for life. And there's just something about the way their skin looks, the way their face looks. I mean, it's just different than people who have lost weight on their own. And I think we're seeing that kind of same thing with that really rapid forced weight loss of GLP-1s. It gives this look to a person that has a slight uniqueness to it that is just, it's just different. And part of that's under eating, being malnourished, you know, like there is that component of it when you're kind of forcing weight loss from a malnourishment standpoint versus, you know, from a slow, steady, I don't want to say healthy, but like a more controlled way of losing weight.
And the cells in
And
your body need food and vitamins and minerals,
Yeah.
right, to grow. Like what you put in is the raw material for new DNA.
Yeah.
If you're not eating, if you've gone on Ozempic and you're eating nothing but Diet Coke and cigarettes and whatever else you're doing, where's your body getting material to make new cells? It's not.
Here's
Yeah.
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
So-
What's up, Steve?
What's up? What's up, guys? Sorry for jumping in. Continue.
No problem.
Looks like
Steve's
Nick
gonna
is in
contribute
like
to
a planetarium. He's got like the night sky behind him.
Yeah, very psychedelic.
No, you-
yeah, good.
You guys are just all tripping balls.
I know I am.
It looks like it's coming off of Steve's shirt into Nick's
Yeah,
room.
this way. Yeah, this way.
I need to be more colorful like Steve. I wear my standard black uniform.
Yeah,
Black.
I'm
black
bringing a lot
t-shirts.
of these shirts to the Olympia
Yeah,
because people want to have them so badly. So I stocked up.
that's a good idea.
Where do you
Start
get
your
those?
own line of them.
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah, so I had a friend of mine fly to Japan, and she got like 8 shirts. So I'll be giving those away at the Olympia. But if you ask for it, I'm not going to give it to you. You have to earn it.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, you got to earn it. If you're a nice guy, then I might give you one.
I don't know if they make them to fit me. We'll see.
I got a 5XL and a 3XL.
Oh, okay. It should be good.
Yeah, but it's
From
Japanese
from
size, so it's-
Japan, though.
Yeah, from Japan.
Asian 5XL.
So this is a 3XL and it's getting tight now. So I'm soon going to switch to the 5XL, and then I got a couple to give away. Yeah, I'm expecting everybody to show a big, so I didn't get small sizes. So if you're small, then no go. For the-
Talking about showing up big, I haven't run Anadrol in 20 years. I did 2 days. I did 2 days of Anadrol. Like my pulse yesterday was up like 20 beats per minute. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I got on the scale this morning, and I was up 9 pounds in 2 days.
Nice.
That
See what a
works.
shit influence I am?
Yeah, good job, Kurt.
That's just for 50 milligrams.
I'll
man.
have them on a
Like,
gram of trend by the end of the week.
There you go.
that's not happening. I don't know. I never say
Apparently,
never, but I think I'm done with trend.
I was watching a recent interview with Dorian Yates, and apparently he swears by Anadrol. He used it in his contests, and he reckons that's kind of what might have given him the edge. But who
Probably
knows?
combined with 18 other things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the polypharmacy. How do you tell what's doing what?
Kurt and I were talking about stuff back then. There was just like, and I've talked to some of these old school bodybuilders. There was nothing available. You
No.
basically just ran. Even the Olympia guys,
Yeah,
you just ran what you could get.
yeah. No, that's absolutely right. It was hard to get, and there was only a few things really available. Like, it's not like it is today. The kids today don't understand how hard it used to be to get stuff and to get a variety.
I
Speaks
remember.
volumes for the gene pool back then. Like the disparity between now and then. It's like clearly the genetic pool was a lot better back then. Like for bodybuilders at least.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah,
interviewing.
because they couldn't rely on the drugs.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, it had
if
to be
you
all other
like your
variables.
dealer had like 12 ampules of
Yeah.
Deca available, and that was your cycle.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm not going to say who. I was talking to a guy that's been around this game for a long time, and he was saying in the 90s they used to use the metal caps on the gear bottles instead of the plastic ones. And he said so as they went down the line, like started from whoever was brewing it to guys you could wedge it up a little bit and stick an 18 gauge needle in there and draw out half the bottle, and then they'd fill it back with olive oil. And he said so you never knew what you were getting, what the purity was. So they would buy Ganabol, like the big EQ, that 50 milligram garbage EQ from the 80s,
Yeah,
and they would then take all of the gear and they would put it in the big bottle and they would swirl it around, and then they would just pull 3 cc's out and inject it and just hope that they were getting something. And they didn't know what they're getting, and you didn't know, like like Paul and I talked about, you didn't know what you're getting. The local guy at the gym would sell you stuff, right? He had Winstrol, some parabolin, and no one knew what anything was. So the guy was telling me, he said, we didn't really know what parabolin was. We just knew it was more expensive, so I never bought it because it was more. So I would just buy the cheaper stuff. I'd buy Winstrol and Deca because it was cheap.
Yeah, there would be just some dude set up in the locker room that would sell you stuff. I remember interviewing JP Fuchs, and he was talking about how he ran Test, Deca, and D-Ball, and I asked him why, and he's like, that's because that's all the Romanians that came to my gym had. And he said they would show up, they would roll through like every couple months with a suitcase full of gear, and they'd set up shop in the locker room, and he said we'd just buy up everything they had.
It must have been lucrative, though. Yeah, because I used to pay $25 for an amp of Sustanon.
I think I bought.
The prices were
remember the Norma Hella Deca from Greece? Is that what it's called? Norma Hella? It was like a blue
Yeah,
top.
Norma Hellas. Yeah.
I shit you not. I think I paid $300 for like 10 bottles of Deca in 1999 or something.
Were they
I mean,
ambulant?
that was, you didn't know what things were worth. You didn't know what anything was. You didn't know how to use it. I mean, that was the first time I ever tried anything, and then I didn't touch anything for 20 years. So I got so sick off Deca only.
Yeah.
I had no idea. By the third bottle, I was so not well.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not touching this crap ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
My first cycle was 10 weeks of 300 milligrams of test. So I just got a vial of test 300, and it cost me $350.
I got so lucky, man. My hookup was only at pharmaceutical grade, so I started with the Aburain testosterone Annotate, the legitimate
you're
ones,
lucky.
and I just ran 1 ampule per week, and I paid €4 per amp.
Oh my
And the guy was like, "What do you want for your first cycle?" I said, "You need 12 ampules of Aburain test. That's it, and some Arimidex." And he's like, "I can't make any money off you. What the fuck?"
Oh my. Must have been nice.
Yeah, it was a good cycle. Yeah, but then again, the first cycle is always the best cycle because you
Always
make
the best.
stellar gains anyway. Regardless of what you do.
I remember
Yeah.
I remember in the 90s, like it was damn near impossible to find testosterone. It was really hard to find testosterone.
Yeah.
It's probably only pharma grade and wasn't making it to the black market.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we would when I did get it, it was the Bayer Testoviron, I think is what it was that we had, the amps. I remember those Testoviron amps.
That's when Testoviron had the propionate in it too.
Did it? Yeah, I don't
Back then, they changed when what Bayer owns it now. Who owned it before? Begins with an S.
Sharing.
Sharing. When Sharing owned it, it was propionate and enanthate, and then Bayer just pulled the propionate out because it was pointless.
And it's so funny because now we live in this age of abundance where you can get steroids on the fly. Like especially here in Thailand, I can snap my fingers and the steroids will arrive in literally 30 minutes by a motorbike delivery guy. But the physiques are all shittier. And then you talk about certain protocols and people don't believe you. So it's not like the industry improved anything with this abundance of information and steroids. If anything, there's more people looking worse than more people looking good.
That's a
So
good
I
one.
have a theory about that too, because I mean, it's the whole argument of like the reason why so many people in low socioeconomic areas are uneducated is the lack of access to information, and they fix that, and obviously, lo and behold, we have more idiots than ever. So a similar thing, and I think the commonality here is you make something easier to acquire or obtain, then people just have less of a desire to do it. And I mean, if somebody really wants to, say, get big or be an assisted bodybuilder, like if the ability to do it, scarcity is there, they'll find a way still to make it work. Whereas, like, same thing with education. Like, if someone wants to be intelligent, they'll find a way to educate themselves. But when you make everything abundant, it's almost like I guess, not the novelty, but like the significance of it kind of like wears away. And people
And
just,
it's cheap.
I guess, take it for
It's also
granted.
cheap, so everybody has access to it. Like,
a good
growth hormone is way cheaper, and steroids are way cheaper, especially if you buy in bulk. And if you know the real prices, or you have a guy that likes you because you're on YouTube, then you pay basically nothing, right? And then you can really run whatever you want. So, right, it's literally everywhere now. But I can't say that the industry has really improved. If anything, it's gone backwards based on the questions that I get on a daily basis. It seems that people are more confused than ever on how to do it properly. So,
That's a good point.
well, what can you do? I'll contribute nonetheless.
Well, I remember there was basically like an initiation process you had to go through to get get gear.
Have to pay
Like
your dues,
you
yeah.
couldn't be just some dipshit coming to the gym first time and get gear. Like it was the old power lifter or the old grizzly bodybuilder that was selling the shit, and like they wouldn't talk to you unless you've been lifting for a while and were serious about it. Yeah, they wouldn't. They would tell you to get fucked. Like it took me. I remember it took me a while, and then finally it was that old power lifter that rode a Harley Davidson and kind of scary looking guy, and I finally, and I'm just like, I kept annoying him enough, and he's like, all right, kid. And he was like, $50, and he handed me a bag of pills. I think it was Anadrol. I'm not sure. And he's like, take one of these a day for 6 weeks. And I was my bench went up like 50 pounds in a week. So yeah, that was my first experience.
Were they those green British dispensary hexagons?
Yeah, fanny pack dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah, the old field.
I used
What
to
do you
pay
mean?
$6 a pill for those.
Yeah, they were those old things. I remember, and then I remember the old blue D balls.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, we still have those here in the pharmacy.
Oh, you saw those?
Yeah, they're 1,000 pill bottles. They're like
That's
this
great.
big. 5 milligrams. Yeah, just take them by the handful.
Blue hearts.
I haven't touched the Anabol in decades, man, or years.
No, I haven't either. George says it's not cheap in Scandinavia.
Yeah, it's problematic over there in Sweden, Norway, Denmark. It's very problematic.
Yeah, I know. It's like they're like super strict about it. I don't know if this. One of my clients was telling me that they all randomly come to the gym and test people.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
So a lot of
insane.
these bodybuilders have private gyms in garages, and they train there.
I thought Australia was bad. That's next level.
Yeah, that's nuts, isn't it? You imagine that? Dude rolling up in your gym and say, you got to give a blood sample. I'd tell somebody to get fucked.
Yeah, fucking the bird. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Australia was always bad to get things into. Like when I was selling, I explored the possibility of sending to other countries, and we did for a little bit, but it became too difficult. But one of the countries that all the dealers knew is you don't send to Australia because it gets confiscated every time.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Like the way they, I know this because I spoke to a few people years ago, but like the way they were getting raw powders in, like just people who are small time making for themselves and their friends and stuff, was they'd order them in, but they'd get the people in China to send it in like toy trucks and stuff. They'd like have the toy truck and they'd put bits of powder all through it, and you'd have to get the toy truck and then disassemble it and collect all the powder when it got here, because there was no other way. Like customs is so strict in Australia. It's not a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, George says they do that over there. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Imagine all the wasted toy cars shipped
Yeah.
into Australia.
I know.
Must be a graveyard somewhere. All those little $5 toy cars from China.
There's children who are missing their toy cars everywhere.
Yeah. Shit.
One time I got, I would usually order like, I don't know, 10 kilograms a week of powders. And there's sometimes,
That's crazy.
sometimes more. but they would always come individually. Like I guess through, these Chinese guys knew how to get things through customs. But so they would only come in like 1 kilogram little boxes. Like I guess the size of the box, if it's smaller, they wouldn't check it. So they would compact it, send it in a small box and get it through. There was a couple times when I got, I'll tell 10 kilograms at once. And one time it came in one of those like small water heaters, one of those small, really fast water heaters, but it was all metal. And so the whole thing was like, I don't know what kind of metal it was, but it was a metal, and we couldn't get into it. We actually had to Sawzall it. We had to sit there and Sawzall it it took hours to Sawzall into this thing and get it up, but it made it through. The customs actually stopped it, and they were trying to figure out and they couldn't see anything in it, and they couldn't x-ray it because it was metal. So we actually got a letter that it was in hold in customs, and if there was nothing there, they would release it. And eventually, they just released it because they couldn't get into it, and we had to Sawzall it for hours before we could get into it and get all these powders.
Ryan, were you using a reshipper or were you getting it direct from them?
I was getting it direct from them.
Okay, because a lot of the guys use reshippers now, so then it's safer, I guess, that way.
Oh, is it?
What do you mean reshipper? Like,
I don't want to go. We could talk offline. I don't want to get that stuff like.
yeah,
Private.
You mean you didn't go claim it from customs?
He's signing your name.
Get your passport.
They ring the
It's like,
doorbell.
here to pick
So
up.
I had these addresses, right? And if we get a customs letter, which we didn't get them too often, if we get one, we just, okay, that address is done. I'll go pay somebody else to use another address. So I just had I just pay somebody to use an address.
I know a guy who got popped. He was having it sent to like one of those mailbox stores. And
Yeah.
the cops got wind of it somehow. But they didn't think it was steroids. They thought it was coke. So they waited. The store was going to close at 5 p.m. and he went at like 4:58. And as soon as he opened the mailbox, they cuffed him.
Oh my God.
And then they saw what it was, and they're like, "Oh, you're such an asshole! Like, had you just waited 2 more minutes, we wouldn't have come back tomorrow. And now we got to take you in, and we weren't looking for steroids."
Oh my God.
And the judge let him go. I mean, they couldn't decide if it was federal or state, so they held him in jail for a month, in not a nice prison, waiting for the judges to figure out who was going to try it. And they released him anyway. They were like, the judge was like, "It's a victimless crime. No one dies from steroids. Get out of here."
Oh my
And the
God.
prosecutor lost their mind. Like, kids are dying on the streets, and the judge is like, "Who's ever died from steroids?"
Yeah. It's
Judge
absolutely
was
right.
probably on steroids himself.
Yeah.
He knew. He knows.
Yeah,
He knows what's
shitty.
up.
Rick Collins, if you ever want to get him on, he has some crazy stories about some
I had him on.
weird busts and stuff. Cops being overzealous.
He defended one of my co-defendants. He was their lawyer. He did a good job. He only got 6 months.
Oh wow. Maybe you should have hired Rick.
Well, but I was the leader. This guy he was just one of my employees. So
Yeah,
I got the most time because I was the leader.
Well, that sucks to be you. That guy probably just ratted you out, right? That's probably why he got it.
I don't know.
So, Steve, you think Cbum is retiring?
I'm rooting for Wesley Vissers to take it this year.
Yeah, I am too. Wesley looks great, but Cbum's supposedly making his big announcement.
Oh, really? Did he say that somewhere?
Yeah,
On Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram.
Okay.
Went on the 9th, right? You said the 9th?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay. All right, I didn't know
Probably
that.
just coming out with some pre-workout.
Yeah, yeah. These guys love the clickbait, man. Because last year you stood on stage. I was there, and he was like, "Everybody talks about me retiring, but I'm not ready to retire. I'll be here next year, and the year after that." But now he has kids, and maybe reality is sinking in. And Wesley has like 2 kids, and he's used to that life. So Wesley's doing good. Yeah, I'm excited for Wesley, but of course, if Chris Bumstead retires. And then next year it's wide open. Then it kind of depends on what the top 3, top 5 is going to be this year.
I mean, Wesley looks like he's a serious threat to me, man. He looks good.
I agree.
I saw him in real life, and he looked way ahead and freaking huge. And he's got details everywhere that nobody else has. So it's if this is basically his year, and then he would be one of those few champions that won the Arnold Classic and the Mr. Olympia in the same year.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it when he told me that he was actually under the cap, like a good bit under the cap at the Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
I'm like,
Plenty of room
so much
to
bigger.
improve his legs. And he
Yeah,
brought
that
an
was
entire
just-
gym to get it done.
It was impressive seeing him in person at the Arnold. Like he looked ridiculous.
That's actually a good question. Who's the most impressive looking bodybuilder you've seen in person?
Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, Ronnie Coleman.
I never saw that.
2006 after he lost. Holy shit, dude.
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, I saw Jay
saw
also in
Jay.
2006. Yeah.
I saw Dallas
Ron-
McCarver at the Olympia one year, and he was a monstrous human being. Monstrous. He just made all the rest of the bodybuilders around him look small.
He was tall too, wasn't he? It's like 6'2" or something, wasn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, he's tall. He just
Samson
towered over everybody.
Samson, when we saw him at the New York Pro, man, he made everybody look small.
Yeah.
Everybody that was there, he was just hanging out, and he made everybody look small.
Yeah. I saw Dallas McCarver wasn't in that, but he was just there, and he was just so big. I couldn't believe it. I actually was. I sponsored the after Olympia party with Phil Heath and Jay Cutler, so I got to hang out with those guys like in the back of the cabana. I rented this cabana for them, and then they at Essex, and then they were like signing autographs. But it was really interesting. I got to hang out with those guys for a few hours.
Is there an after party this year at the Mr. Olympia?
I don't know.
Maybe we should create our own after party then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could. Like I think I just paid like $8,000 for a cabana
Never mind. I'm out.
SX, and then they came, but I set it up with their agent. I set it up with Phil Heath's agent. That I would do that for them, so that they came and just signed autographs at this place, but I get to hang out with them. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That's
that's probably
back when
something X's or whatever.
That's back when Ryan had $8,000 sitting around on his couch.
That's right. $8,000 was actually
What
a
do I
week
do with all
Saturday.
this money?
Yeah. That's a Tuesday for me.
It was a week Saturday night.
Digging through his couch cushions. Let's pay for an Olympia after
I know
party.
2 years ago when I went to the Flex Lewis's after party through a mutual friend, and that's basically where everybody else showed up at. So it was a pretty cool nightclub, and I think there's a cover charge, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, I
The
just paid
$50
Chase.
Las Vegas cover charge.
Yeah, exact cover charge for everything, or $80 I think it was. But they let me in because Flex Lewis had a table, and I went in through a mutual friend. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, it's a very nice nightclub, so the cover charge, whatever it is well worth it if you can't get a private seating. Good DJs too. The funniest is coming out of the nightclub at 4 or 6 in the morning, and then everybody's completely plastered. It looks like a zombie apocalypse with people just puking in the hallway and stuff. And I was still reasonably sober, so that was interesting.
It's so weird in Vegas too, because time seems to cease to exist. Like there's like the nightclubs. I remember being in a nightclub. And I'm like, "What time do you guys close?" And he's like, "When everybody leaves."
Yeah.
I mean, they don't.
Just-
Better
as long as
question is, what
people are
time do you
spending
guys
money.
open? Like the next time somebody shows up?
Yeah.
Well, in Vegas, everything is like without windows, so you don't even know what time it is. Like in the malls and the casinos, it's all like the same lighting the whole day, so you have no idea unless you look at your watch. And I don't have a watch, so it just keeps going, which is exactly how I like it. You know, when I want to stop, then I'll stop. Not because the club closes or when my wallet is empty.
Yeah.
Well, it's difficult nowadays. So when I need to be carried out, then then I'll stop my party. My wife is not coming, so I can misbehave.
Oh, it's gonna be fun.
No wives.
No wives, no. I'll be at Sapphires every day. No.
Sapphires. Is that that's a jewelry store?
Yeah, they sell gems. I'll have to bring some
For your wife.
one deal per day to get my wife. Yeah.
She's such a romantic.
Yeah. I'll bring some flowers too.
Where's Justin at when we need him to talk about Tuesday night stripper butts? I got some guff for that last week. Like, you can't do that. I'm like, oh, come on.
Come on, man. We are over 30. Sure you can.
We can talk about
Sure.
that.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Strip clubs are fun.
Yes, oh my God, yeah. So what's set my alarm for this morning for 2:30.
Oh,
That's what's up, man.
No, man. I thought it was late here. What time is it for you, Nick? What time is it? 2:30?
2:40 a.m. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't believe you do that. I have some clients in Australia. It's always tough working with them, especially like on shows and stuff.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's complete like polar opposite time zone.
Yeah, like I have to just stay up.
I always knew it was too late. I was up too late back in the day when I'd be playing video games, and I'd start to hear the Australian accents trickling. All right, mate.
That's my cue to leave.
Time to shoot some aliens, eh? Yeah, I think I'm up too late. I got work in the morning.
I started playing. Speaking of video games, I started playing Warhammer last night.
yeah.
Kolton was telling me that's where he's been at.
I
My
bought
son,
a Lego kit.
I'm old school. I play the Warhammer board game,
Oh yeah.
or like the
yeah?
tabletop game, I should say. Yeah, I haven't played it for a bit, but I mean I'm back in Australia now, so I can go get my models, pick them up, and start get back into it if I want to. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about it. I don't know if you guys have ever done the tabletop game. There's this.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
I don't know. It's fun. It's just time consuming and it empties your wallet.
Yeah, because you have to buy all those
did when I was
figurines and then
young.
hand paint them, and
Yeah.
it's very time consuming.
I ended up giving them all away, but it was it was fun when I was a kid for sure.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Well, Space Marines came out this week, and Kolton said that's what he was going to be doing today. And my son talked me into playing with him, and then he was just giving me this like old man lecture. He's like, "Dad," he's like, "we can do co-op, but I'm going to have to carry you through the whole thing." He's like, "'Cause you're slow. Your reaction
So you
times
pop out
aren't
the
very good."
Adderall to keep up with it. Take like 20 milligrams Adderall, and I'm like fucking wired. Just keep
And
up.
I'm like, no, I'm not slow. And I'm sitting here playing last night, and I'm like, I kept getting killed, and I'm like, God damn it, man.
The first time I noticed that is when I was playing the new Doom games, the Doom Eternal and
I
stuff.
mean, you have to have some fast twitch for those games.
I used to play
Doom is
Doom 1,
hard.
2, 3 with modded, levels and stuff, and mod my own game, and it's too fast for me, man. Can't keep up. Can't keep up.
Well, my
Yeah,
son makes fun of me.
dexterity and reflexes tend to go downhill, don't they? Just without the practice. Yeah.
I can play
I-
Legend
I-
of Zelda. That's about it.
It's probably a few years
easy.
ago now, but I remember coming over Paul's house, and his son was used to beating up on his dad in video games. And
Oh yeah, he was like 7 then.
Yeah,
That wouldn't happen now.
it wouldn't happen now, but I spanked him, and he was like, "What the hell?"
This is in the Super Nintendo time, probably.
He's drinking coffee or drinking energy drinks and pulling all nighters now, Colin. He's on a different level.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Coming out in the morning smelling like a musty billy goat.
I remember those days.
He just orders. I know I've talked about it before, but he has access to my Uber Eats account, and like sometimes I'll be up early and I'll see an Uber Eats order at the door at 6 a.m. and I'm like,
That's his dinner.
yeah, that's his dinner. Can't do that shit now that he's in school.
School
His
started.
mom and I are divorced, and she was giving me a lecture about how I need to be a better parent, not let him stay up so late.
This is how you get to be the favorite parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, you got the whole rest of your life to be responsible.
Oh
True.
my gosh! Did
That's
you guys
True. Okay.
see
All the
this?
mischief I got into,
Did you guys see AI has the ability to generate and run a playable Doom now? There's no game engine behind it.
That's wild.
What?
Like it's just generating the game with all the physics and everything. It frame by frame. It plays it at 20 frames per second, and it generates it in real time.
that's
Just
insane.
it like dreams it into existence. Is that?
But
is
is
that
it like
not the
is it like
crazy
Brutal
shit you-
Doom 3.0?
It's no, it's like the OG, but just like
Okay.
I mean, like a year ago, AI couldn't make a convincing Will Smith eating spaghetti, and now it's fucking like
Yeah, it's
creating
You
its
see it
own
on- you see
reality
it on Inst-
essentially.
you see it on Instagram when you go to explore. You're like, oh, it looks like a cool video. AI, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's got millions of views, and it's ranking up more views than regular content.
It's
Yeah, it's
the
insane.
coolest shit. Yeah.
I had somebody
You-
pitch me an AI model just to do the exact same thing for my Q&As for the shorts. So they'll just scan your face, scan your voice, you put in the script, and then it'll just talk and say stuff with your exact same mannerisms based on one Q&A that you upload. It's insane.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
can't
I'm not
trust
gonna do
anything you
that.
see online anymore now. It's
only gonna get better.
Literally could be somebody with a AI program. Yeah.
It's good I
That's
can stay
wild.
young forever. I can stay 40 forever.
Immortalized.
I thought
Yeah.
that's what GH is for.
Oh, yeah, it's clearly working. It's clearly working. Yeah. 10 I uses the shit. I can tell you that.
I've aged like 10 years from not having GH. Like I've noticed it in my skin. It's like I'm getting like wrinkly skin. And I'm like, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it goes fast. I'll be.
Did you-
I'll become
Up the dose, Steve? Is that an increased dose for you?
10. I never ran 10 IUs before. I think the highest I ran was 8, but it was
Oh, wow.
true pharmacy grade, but it was way too expensive. And I got to water retention too much water retention at the time, and then I did like 2 or 4, 6. But now I have access to an underground lab that tests very, very good on serum on 10 IU. So I got 36 nanograms per milliliter on a serum test.
Oh, good. That's
And
good.
it's really cheap, so I'm paying like $12 a day for 10 IUs.
There
So
you
I
go.
stocked up. Yeah, stocked up, and now I'm running it to the Olympia, and then I'll come off of it. Because I'm actually a little bit too big for comfort. I'm floating around 235, 240, but I want it to be around 225. So just for the Olympia, I'll size up, and then I'll slim down.
Yeah.
What's it costing you a day?
$12 for 10
$12.
IUs.
Yeah,
I'm spending 80. I'm spending 85 a day.
Jesus. Kurt. But you're
Works.
learning the real deal.
Yeah, I'm on the
Yeah,
full
really good,
HIV program.
Yeah.
That's why I think I'm falling asleep too. I'm like in a GH hole right now.
You need,
Yeah.
you need some of those energy
gotta-
shots.
I
I
can
learned from the best that you take it at night for that reason.
I take the whole bottle at night, but
Oh, yeah.
I
You
need
still
to
get
gotta
tired.
fucking
14
sleep.
You're still
hours,
fatigued.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go. I get sleepy on 10 IUs. But then I have some coffee before I get started with these podcasts so I can get through it. So if I seem a little bit wired, just the caffeine.
Steve, what when you tested it, right? So you said it tested at 36.
Mm-hmm.
What did you injected a whole vial, and then how much longer did you wait to go get your
So
blood
it's
test?
they're pens, they're 100 IU pens.
Okay.
So I injected 10 IUs intramuscularly with an insulin needle of about 13 millimeters. So
Yeah.
that's what, half an inch
Mhm.
into the shoulder. That seems to be rapidly absorbed. And then I waited 2.5 hours, 2
Yeah.
hours, 45 minutes,
Yeah.
because I was there a little bit late on traffic. So that was the highest rating. I did 3.3 IUs first.
Perfect.
Then I got 13 nanograms per milliliter, and then I
That's
did
great.
36. So I got the results, and then I called my pharmacist, and I'd like 50 more pens. So
Yeah, that's
my
great.
fridge is full, and so I have a rack, just Increlex,
Yeah,
and Undergod Lab, very high potency
that.
growth hormone.
And
Most
the
people in their
then
fridge,
the-
they've got like
the eggs and the milk below that.
yeah. There's the
No,
joke.
those have a very hard turnover, so I don't even keep the eggs in the fridge. I get those delivered every day fresh. But like the 2 top drawers of my fridge are all peptides. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, nobody knows where I live.
Most people got the special butter drawer.
Yeah, no, I got no dairy products, only peptides.
I was
So I
laughing.
got
I have all
cerebrolizin and Increlex and all that stuff. Yeah, it's great.
I have all my.
I can't
GH
believe it's not Increlex.
I was laughing. I have all my GH and insulin and all my peptides in my refrigerator, and I wasn't thinking about it. My cleaning ladies came, and they organized all of it. they had it all. They had it all stacked out on shelves. I was just
That's
like,
nice.
that's really funny.
That's nice.
I used to.
Yeah.
So when I was sourcing HGH, I used to.
Rakuten.co.jp. But they're sold out now. My friend bought all the big sizes. So I'll post a link on my Vigorous Q&A, James. But it's sold out now. So continue. Sorry. Everybody wants to know what shirt.
So when I was sourcing GH, because once you become pretty big, like I had all these Chinese companies reaching out to me to try to sell me their GH. So I took like a whole lot of samples, and so some of my good customers, I would actually crowdsource the testing of some of these. So I would send them some HGH, have them do exactly what you said, Steve. Take 10 IUs, go get your tested in about 2 hours 45 minutes. Go get your blood tested and come back with the results. But doing that, I was able to test like 100 batches of HGH, and I was able to like narrow it down to, okay, this is the company that has the consistently highest tested HGH. Back when I was doing it, we didn't have labs or anything. You couldn't do that, so that's how you had to test things. So that's why I was able to get a really good reputation for having high quality. All my
you
products.
just got to test it yourself. My pharmacist just sent me a pen. Said, Steve, can you please test it? Because I did trust nobody else to do it right.
Yeah, right.
So she sent me a free pen. I tested it, and then I bought more. So it's basically like giving, you're like a Coke dealer giving a free sample. So call me if you need more.
Give them a gram.
Yes.
I saw a picture of you. I think it was with Aaron, but you looked pretty beefy, Steve.
Yeah.
You look big.
Yeah, it's coming all back. Muscle memory is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I might throw in some Superdrol for the Mr. Olympia, though. Fuck it.
I need to get I need to get myself back together. I basically like just stopped taking everything cold turkey after my
But
show.
you wanted to do a pro show, right? What happened?
Tacos. That's what happened.
Taco Tuesdays.
I went to Mexico for a week after my show, and then I got back. I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. It's so
You
hard
also
when you
get-
go on a holiday. It's so
You
hard.
get sick of pinning too after a prep. After prep, you just like screw
Yeah,
this.
I get
like,
tired of pinning.
I never get tired of pinning.
Me.
No, sorry, I can never get tired of pitting, man. I get tired of dieting. I'm just being fucking hungry and moody and empty stomach, and that's what I get tired of. It's not the
Until
pinning.
this week, I pretty much weighed the same as I did at my show, and then now that I started my cycle back up, I've blown up. I look all puffy and watery.
That's a good look
Yeah.
too.
You can see it in my face. I get the fat face.
Yeah, me too.
I got the Scottish German thing where my head just gets big when I get
Yeah,
bigger.
for a couple of days.
yeah,
man,
that happens to me too.
gigantic.
Yeah.
So by the time I'm at the expo, I'll already been at Las Vegas for a week, and I'll be having plenty of dinners leading up to the expo. So I'll be full as a house, but probably in the face the most. So I have like
Steve, what
super
day are you
cheeks and all
getting
the
there?
pictures.
What day are you getting there? To Vegas.
Tuesday.
Oh, okay, I'm going Wednesday, so we'll have to meet up
Yeah.
Wednesday. flights are
Yeah,
cheaper.
I might be fully booked already. Actually, I'm coming on Monday, so Tuesday I'm booked. Wednesday might have time.
All right.
When are you leaving? When are you leaving?
Not till the next week. Yeah, I'm staying for about a week. The flights were
Okay,
so much
good.
cheaper to come on Tuesday and leave, or come on Wednesday and leave on Tuesday. I just took those
Yeah.
flights.
Yeah, and you stay one weekend. So
Yeah.
I'll be there for about 10 days. I might extend my trip to Los Angeles, but I'm not entirely sure yet. I haven't decided yet. Let's see who wants to do collaborations, and otherwise I'll just fly back home. Yeah,
Yeah,
but we'll
cool.
definitely meet up, man, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll do that super big dinner in the private table because Paul has so much anxiety that he wants the private room. No, I get it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun, just us all
Yeah.
in the private
I just
room.
feel weird about like the rest of the restaurant seeing us eat sushi off of naked ladies. That's just,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
that kind of restaurant.
that's my own thing. It's my own anxiety.
Oh man,
We have one.
I just want to be
objective,
able to
though.
enjoy dinner. You know?
yeah, private without the cameras.
We have one objective though. We have to feed Amy because she's coming out of prep.
Yeah, it's
right.
coming up. Yeah.
Are you still on dieting, Amy?
I have a show in
Good.
4 weeks.
Oh
Yep.
no.
Oh no.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, I probably won't actually eat anything at dinner because it's so late. Like that, we're having dinner past my bedtime, so I'll be
Oh really?
sipping
You're
some
recording.
seltzer. You know,
Coffee doesn't have any calories.
well, it's not the calories; it's just the lateness. Like I feel like after like 8 p.m., my body's like, no, we're closed for food.
So maybe you want to start waking up a little bit later and later and later, so you can prep for the Olympia and stay up late because the Olympia will run until 11.
If maybe
I'll
someone
still
could
be
like,
awake. I just won't be eating.
get a line on like a drug that works sort of like the opposite of Ozempic. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it.
Well, you can take MK677 and some weed, and you'll be good to go. You know?
I mean, you probably wouldn't be able to find anything like that in Las Vegas anyway. But
Right?
I
Like,
know
who would
5
have such a
guys
thing?
in my inbox right now sending me messages.
I think Colin was thinking more of the THC brand.
Yeah.
Oh, you have dispensaries in Las Vegas. I'd a little bit out of town. It's not an issue, not a problem. I think you
I
can
might
get
have to-
anything in Vegas. You know, it's a
that's
might have
that's
to-
what I've heard.
yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Just don't buy it from the South African guy in the street. Coca? no.
I might have to be.
undercover DEA.
I might have to be baked for the expo so I can deal with my social anxiety.
Get one of those THC vape pens so you can smoke inside.
Mm.
You know, you just
Yeah.
get them in one of the dispensaries and just chill the fuck out. You know, get one of those hash brownies and you have a little crumb, little corner every outer. Yeah, I love the expo though. It's fun. You talk to
There you
people. I love that shit. Yeah, it's hilarious. You meet so many interesting people, and yeah, I always have a good time. It gives me a lot of energy. And then at the end of the day, I'm destroyed to take a quick nap and then go to the prejudging of finals.
Yeah, I'm not doing the finals. I only got prejudging. I waited too long, and there were no tickets left for finals.
Yeah, I got a gold VIP ticket.
Plus, I think I'd rather just go out and have fun.
True. I'll join you guys in later for sure. Wherever you're, just shoot me a message and we'll join in later. Me and Aaron got a gold VIP ticket, so we'll sit out in front. And I think Chase got silver VIP. Yeah, we'll just when the show's done around 10:30, 11 o'clock after the the bullshit outside the venue, chatting people up a bit, and then I don't know, slap on a nice shirt and meet up somewhere.
There's definitely going to be some naps, although the time change will be in my advantage. So you've got that going for me because it's 3 hours behind.
I'll definitely need to hit up some modafinil when I arrive because my time zone will be completely regulated.
They also have the mobile IV station. Skip the hangover.
Yeah, I saw that at the expo last year. Also, do some glutathione and vitamin C. Get yourself sobered up. Okay, guys, I got to go to my own Vigorous Q&A. I'll talk to you guys soon. Okay.
See you, Steve.
Later.
See you. It's good to talk to you. Take care.
All right, we want to grab some questions. I didn't see a ton.
I'll start with Andrew's question since he paid for it. I look forward to the live every Saturday. Shout out to Kolton. I'm 4 weeks out from competing in the Amateur O, and he's made this prep go amazing. Looking forward to meeting you all at the expo. That's less of a question, but we're also looking
Thanks,
forward
Andrew.
to
Nice. It was good to see you.
Colton's
Good
busy
luck.
playing Warhammer 40,000 Space Marines today, so he will not be with us. So if your check-in's behind, that's why.
Priorities.
Sorry, bro. But definitely come say hi to us. We're looking forward to meeting you at the expo. Colton's coming, right? Yeah, he's coming.
Oh, is he? Okay, good.
He was telling us how much Canada sucks. I can't imagine going from Thailand to Canada. All right, what do we got next here for
that's one
questions? Got any good questions here?
Yeah, we got a few. Jason, I'm a poor student. Would running 2 units of GH a day give me any worthwhile benefits?
Not at your age, probably.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Especially
Save the money
if it's unknown generic. Probably definitely not.
Save your money.
The bottle itself is probably only a milligram.
Yeah, spend money on better quality food. Yeah.
I don't know what I usually like with the GH thing with young guys. Like, I don't know how much, unless you're a high level competitor, I don't know how much you're getting out of it until
when you're old, it makes a big difference.
Until you're hitting your 30s. Unless you're trying to vie for a pro card or something, and then you got to run a lot of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you're not using
especially
2 IUs.
2
Not
IUs,
using
like
2
it's a replacement dose. Like
My
no
wife
one's going to
uses
benefit
2
from
IUs,
that.
so
Yeah, I know most chicks who compete are on 6 IUs a day. Like it's yeah.
RFBB, now that 30 years old. Depends.
Have you had a child call you a boomer yet?
Oh my god, my son
Cuts
calls me
deep.
my son calls me a boomer all the time.
And the worst part is, like, I want to correct them.
Bet you can't.
Well, technically, baby boomers are people, and I don't qualify that. I'm just making it worse.
I tell him, like, dude, I'm not a baby boomer. He's like, you were born in the 1900s.
The late 1900s. Like,
You were born in the 1900s. I'm like, oh my god. I guess I am old. Oh man, you were born in the 1900s. All right, what do we got next here?
Our friend George always has plenty of questions. He wants to know about modafinil versus ephedrine for productivity and wakefulness.
Modafinil.
Modafinil.
I've never tried modafinil.
What makes you say modafinil?
I find it's just like I guess a very clean kind of energetic feeling, if that makes sense. you just feel awake. Like it was developed to treat narcolepsy, so it makes sense. Like if you're struggling with wakefulness, then that would be the medication to use.
So it's a dopamine reuptake inhibitor, modafinil. So it actually works a similar mechanism as Adderall, but it's not as it's not as potent.
My secret is to sit on thumbtacks. That keeps me awake.
That's not bad.
Or take the cigarette lighter out of your car and burn your finger.
Yeah.
Remember the what was it, Mr. Bean?
Folks, this is not medical advice. Please don't try this at home. We are professionals.
They have this thing called cocaine too, and that suppresses your appetite as well. So it's like
We just
Except it means you have to take a shit.
satire.
God. But most cocaine these days, you're probably getting it cut with a lot of other shit.
yeah.
All right, what do we got next here?
Let's see, we got one from Josh Perry. Ryan, if someone took Nandrolone, Undecanoate only, say 50 milligrams a week, would their blood work show any testosterone or likely low testosterone?
It would kind of depend on the test that you got too. If you got an immunoassay, the Nandrolone may show up as testosterone, but if you do LCMS, then it shouldn't. So your testosterone, if you got a specific to testosterone, it would show below your testosterone levels, but you would have the androgens with Nandrolone in there.
I got
But
one here.
so depending on the exact test, like Nandrolone will show up again in some of the immunoassays, but if you get the specific test, then it does not show up.
There's a good one in here about eating chicken and rice and getting calcium in.
Well, there's a couple ways you could do that. You could
baby bones.
Yeah, well, or eat things that have calcium, some,
Yeah, that's my answer.
or take a calcium supplement. I mean, add in some spinach, mix up your diet a little bit. Take a
I eat
calcium
a-
supplement.
I drink milk.
Yeah. Well, milk's pretty good source.
Throw a
of
little
calcium.
non-fat Greek yogurt
Any
on
dairy.
there.
Yeah, I eat a
Yeah.
non-fat Greek yogurt in the morning.
Yep.
If I drink milk, I'm not a pleasant person to be around.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Just find a high
Not a
calcium
place to
source
make
food.
friends.
Oh,
I don't
Paul,
know,
I'm dying to run a GI map on you. Like, I'm so fascinated by your gut.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Like, I want to see what's going on in there.
Probably nothing good.
in a
I hope
really
this guy's not just
Sounds like
that
sounds
kind
like
of creepy way.
your pickup line at the bar, Amy. Like,
Yeah.
just sit down there. I really want to run a GI map on you. Like, really.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, like the reasons why I'm single, I could enumerate on them. Like, hey, can I get a stool sample? Let's see what's going on in your poop. I got them lining up at the door. Like, hey, seems like you have some really bad gas. I could help you with that.
This is not the shit.
You probably have a lot of hidden messages in your DM.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, that may work for some guys.
It might.
Oh boy.
Well, let's do a GI map. I'll send it to you. You can.
That would be awesome.
You can parse it for me. I'm sure it's all fucked up.
That's that's the fun of it, right? If it all comes back normal, then that would be odd that you were having any type of symptoms.
My gut issues are so transient too. Sometimes they come and sometimes they go.
Yeah,
But
but you can start to see patterns though, and that's the thing with the gut. Like it is ever changing, and that's why you don't just run one and be done. But like you kind of have to like see what's going on. Like maybe there's something that's like a little bit off, and then it gets higher, and then there's yeah, it's fascinating. It's like the whole little world.
I every once in a while convince myself that it's okay to eat hot sauce again,
Yeah.
and that
There was
lasts for.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that lasts for about 2 days,
Yeah.
and then it's not good. What were you going to say, Ryan?
There's a documentary on Netflix about the gut biome. Did you see that? It's actually really interesting.
Well, I haven't, but I have Netflix.
Man,
I'll
I
have to
can't
watch
remember
it.
what it's called. If somebody knows that, post it in there because it's actually really interesting. They do a really deep dive on the gut biome, and they actually they take samples of people's poop and figure out
Hack your health.
oh, that
That's what
sounds
the
right.
GI
Yeah.
map does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I recommend that documentary. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
It's on
I'll check
Netflix.
it
I
out.
mean, it's kind of
But,
amazing to
people are
think
actually
what's going on
because
in this.
they figured out that you could get certain enzymes. Like once your body is introduced to them, like your body will start producing them again. This is a very simplified version, so quote me on it. But
Well,
so
you
they
inoculate
actually
it.
non-resilient enzymes.
yeah. So they started taking feces of people who had the enzymes that you don't, and you actually ingest it. So they have capsules of
Fecal
feces.
transplant.
Yeah,
It's a fecal
stool
transplant.
transplants.
Yeah, and it was really working for people. Like people are like, oh my whole life changed because of this. So it's a really good documentary. It's really interesting.
Well,
Yeah, I remember
a friend of mine had really bad C. diff and needed a fecal transplant, and I volunteered. I was like, yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
But you saw like these people in this factory, and they just have feces, and they're putting it in capsules.
That'd be a last
a
resort.
really
man.
interesting job.
I can see
It
the
is a last
documentary.
resort for treatment, but it's useful. Like it works.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Tossing salad
Yeah.
changed my life.
Tossing stuff.
And other tricks I learned in prison.
Exactly.
Not the
Well,
ones
that's,
that
I
were
mean, one of the
Ryan, do you prefer syrup or jelly?
I was just in minimum security, so none of that happened. That's the
one of the
max.
main questions I ask people when I do nutritional intakes with them is whether they were a vaginal birth or a C-section, because your gut becomes inoculated with these bacteria differently if you
Yeah.
pass through the birth canal or if you don't, because it gets all
Yeah.
over you. And, that's why babies shouldn't be like sterilely wiped down immediately after delivery or had
Yeah.
they squeeze antibiotics into their eyes immediately when they're born. I mean, there's a reason
terrible.
that these things happen the way they do. And if you give birth in a birthing facility that's not like a hospital, like they will do, and you have to have a C-section, they'll actually do like a vaginal swab and use it to kind of like wipe over your baby, because it makes a difference in your gut health for life, just the way that you were brought into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
My son
It's
was a
fascinating.
C-section.
I
Is
want
that
poop
what's
from
wrong
all
with
of you.
him?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So,
I'll be sending it in the mail this week.
all right.
What's your address? All right, what do we got next here, Colin? I see a paid
one.
comment.
Yeah, DC81 looking for a caffeine alternate, good pre-workout stim. Caffeine stays in my system too long and keeps me up at night, even if I take it in the morning.
Am I the only one that doesn't like to be all stimulated for working out?
What about supplemental
I don't take a
acetylcholine?
pre-workout.
I don't either.
Yeah, I don't take pre-workout either, but I'll like have just if I really need something, like a black coffee. But I mean,
Yeah.
if,
It never made me. If you wanted to get big, why would you want a stimulant before you lift?
Yeah,
Like,
I did for
That's
the
for
first
focus
like,
products. There's
year.
like focus products that don't have caffeine.
Yeah.
some
I'd look
nootropics
for
that
an
are good for
ergogenic aid
focus.
that's non-stimulatory ergogenic aid. That'd be better for you, like something that helps improve performance. I mean,
I'll tell you
honestly, Cognizin, it's like a really bioavailable form of acetylcholine. You could probably have that, and then just some carbs and EAAs. You'd be better off doing that, I reckon.
or Anadrol. Anadrol works.
Anadrol, I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it'll help you get big too.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it doesn't keep you up at night.
yeah.
Yeah, you sleep well on it. Your pulse might be 20 beats above normal, but
And again, I
It's
come
just
back
like
to
a
cocaine.
beta blocker.
Cocaine will probably keep you up though.
Yeah, it will. That's right. And it's not good for building muscle either.
No. But if you mix it with Anadrol 50,
Yeah.
that's not medical advice.
we're just joking.
That was a joke.
No, I'm not a big stimulant fan for workouts.
No.
Once in a while, like if I need something, I'll have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, Anadrol.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got next here? Let's see what's up here.
Armand wants to ask Kurt, how did the experiment go with GH in your wife's knees?
She's still on it. I don't think she's going to come off. It fixed her knees have been clicking for 20 years now, maybe longer. And they, after 2 or 3 months, they stopped making noise.
That's great.
So 2 IU seems to be about the right dose. 3, on 3, she would hold water in her knees after a period of time. After a couple of days, especially it was hot out, her feet and her knees would swell up. So 2 seems to be the most tolerable thing.
That's great.
But yeah, her knees don't make any noise. And they wanted to do surgery on it. No more surgery needed.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's such great data too when people do that.
We were between BPC and growth hormone. Like I have both, and I asked her what she wanted to try, and I was like, "Well, growth hormone's kind of like the whole pizza. BPC is like one slice."
Yeah. Right.
So she went with the growth hormone.
Am I the only one? But I don't think BPC doesn't
I don't
do
think
shit.
BPC doesn't do anything, unfortunately. A lot of those things were made when they changed the growth hormone rules. The doctors wanted something to be able to sell people, and they came out with all these silly peptides that don't do anything.
That's interesting.
I mean, it's not to say it doesn't do anything, but I don't. I think growth hormone would be the better option.
Well, because there's so many benefits. I mean, there's other benefits to growth hormone. So like, why wouldn't you, if you have that available, do that instead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the benefits of growth hormone aren't from the growth hormone itself, but the downstream cascade effects it has from that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And she's the
more
reason
of
why I
a
fill
signal.
I have a prescription for growth hormone. So she's the reason why I fill it when I do. It's because she feels better about me going to CVS versus not going to CVS. I guess she's not keen on like AIDS clinics. I always get real funny looks though when I go to fill, because they can't ask what's wrong with you, but they always give me like a weird look.
They suspect. They look at you and they're like, "You're not an AIDS patient."
Yeah, they can't ask though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's I get it. Confidentiality. Yeah.
I remember I had some dipshit pharmacy assistant asking me, because you have to ask for the Broncaid from behind the counter, and was asking me why I was getting it. And I'm like, I told her, none of your fucking business. Just give me the shit.
Yeah. Like, do you happen to have any gasoline and red sulfur behind the counter too? That's to make meth.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up. I'm gonna open up
Get-
a meth
get a
lab
cop
with,
called on
with
you.
Like, you don't have any matchbooks? Like a lot of matchbooks back there?
Yeah, I'm gonna open up a meth lab with 60 tablets of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shipped my competition bikini in for alterations, and at FedEx, I'd given them the address. He was putting it in. I hand him a bag that literally says Angel Competitions bikini on it. And he says, "What is in this package?" I'm like, "A bikini?" Like, what was the giveaway? Like, do you want me to show you? I mean, and then I walked away from that thinking that same thing. I'm like, are they like, can they ask that? Like, I mean, he did ask, but it was just kind
You
of,
can ask. You can tell them to fuck off. That's what
Yeah,
I do.
like-
Yeah.
this tiny little bag has a very expensive bikini in it. Please don't lose this.
I get the same thing sometimes when I buy insulin. They're like, why are you buying this? And I'm like, because I'm fucking diabetic. That's why. I'm like, you can be big and be diabetic too.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab a next question here. What do we got up next?
I got one for Nick. Why is it that all the Australian bodybuilders have no social media presence and don't talk about gear?
Because it's heavily illegal here. You get caught with one vial, you can face up to 20 years in prison.
20 years for a
That's
vial.
crazy.
That is
Like,
disproportionate.
you'd have to really piss somebody off to get that kind of sentence, but I mean, they can make it pretty painful for you.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people do get way more lenient sentences than that, but I mean, it's just one of the things over here. It's like if you openly talk about it, you get on the radar of the feds, and they'll watch you like a hawk. And then if you're even just ordering for personal use, for example, if you'll just say like, I mean, one of those high dose open bodybuilders that are running like grams of gear and like maybe a kit of GH every other week, like they're going to assume that you're like maybe small time dealing, and they'll bust your fucking door in with a battering ram, and you face charges.
That seems
Yeah,
like
it's
a great use of
pretty
resources.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was just
it.
going to say.
A
Like,
lot of
wow, what a
people
good
do.
use of money.
Yeah,
That's what.
it's a bit excessive. Yeah.
That's like one of the reasons that they haven't done like the Operation Cyber Juice, which is the operation they made to get me. Like they haven't done one of those again. It got like a lot of people complained about it. Complained about you're using millions of dollars of resources for this. Like it's not it hasn't even really been a problem. And
Yeah.
so it's like, yeah, you're right. It's a silly allocation of resources.
Yeah.
JT has a question. Is it gear in the same class of drugs as meth and heroin in Australia?
It is here. It's in the US.
So
class 3.
it's a class 1 in Australia. It's a class 1 in Australia, steroids. So yeah, it's
Class 1 in
basically
the
on the
US
same.
no need for no human use.
Yeah, no medical use.
Yeah.
In the
Well,
US,
like,
it's really the same as heroin.
Yeah, in Australia, it's like it's as bad as getting like caught with meth and shit like that. Like it's pretty serious.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's really bad here. That goes for even things like yohimbine are illegal in Australia. Yohimbine is illegal. Like it's pretty fucking stupid.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Illegal. L-carnitine is illegal. It's not even approved.
L-carnitine is illegal.
Yeah.
So it's like
I think you can probably get it in like a hospital, say for like medical purposes. Like there's probably like a small, but you can't just I want to buy it for myself, that sort of thing. So it's heavily controlled. Yeah, you won't find. Yeah, and yohimbine, it's funny. Yeah, people have to actually get yohimbine from underground labs because you can't buy it in a supplement.
That's insane. You can walk into CVS and get it here.
Yeah, you get prima force yohimbine. Yeah.
All right, what do we got next?
Let's see. Do you count protein shakes towards your water intake goal?
Do any of you guys measure water intake outside of like the last couple of weeks of contest prep?
I only measure at the end.
Yeah.
If your urine's not like, you look at your urine. If it's dark yellow, you need to drink more. If it's clear, you're probably drinking too much.
The only people that should be counting their water intake year round, in my opinion, are people who have fluid restrictions. Other than that, just try to be consistent. And I mean, you can count your protein shakes toward your water intake if, say, for example, you're putting a scoop of whey in like 12 ounces of water. But if you're just talking about those pre-purchased full of shit protein shakes at the store, I wouldn't count that toward your water. Just drink it and just accept it's a drink. Yeah.
I only monitor my water intake the last 2 weeks of contest prep. That's it.
Yeah. That and then electrolytes too. Like you only really need to dial that in the last couple of weeks because the effects are so acute. Like you change your sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium intake, and fluid intake. You can get a response within a matter of days. Like a change in response, I guess. So it's not something you need to do year round.
Cool.
All right, let's get one more in, and then I got to wrap up. I've got another call coming up soon.
All right. SGC STRO wants to know, Amy, do you take growth hormone or any PEDs?
So I do take 1 unit of growth hormone, and I've been on TRT for about 6 years. I also have prescribed thyroid because I do have low thyroid. So yes, so technically I am assisted in that sense. At the beginning of contest prep, though, I was really surprised. I always run my labs before I start, and even on the very low dose of TRT that I was on, my testosterone came back at a 14. So
Wow.
That showed me that I definitely do need even the small amount that I am taking. I was really shocked though that it came back so low. Like that was really low for me, and that's been something that I've dealt with for like I said, like the last 6 years. It's really crazy because in I had like historically when I would run blood work in my 30s, my testosterone was always kind of borderline high, almost to the point where like I had a doctor once think that maybe I had PCOS, which I had no symptoms of. And I still don't think, I think that I just naturally had a higher testosterone. So when it really rapidly kind of dropped off, supplementing was really necessary. And I think, Ryan, you're such a great example of showing like why, like the quality of life that can be improved through TRT. I mean, that's actually something that really concerns me. I think like, wow, what would happen if my quality of life, like would I die without my testosterone supplementation? No. But would my life suck? Like, yeah. Like it would just I would hate that. Like, and it makes me so sad that, like, especially women are so uneducated
Yeah.
or so afraid to have any type of testosterone supplementation. Like, I even hear like athletes, talking about how they'll run all these other drugs, but like they won't touch test, like, ooh, like I won't do that. I'm like, oh, but your life could be so much better. Like, yeah. And the GH was new for me. I actually had a friend who was able to source some genotropin, and that was actually something that I was really excited to get to add in on this prep, because I'd never used it before. And I've been, again, just such a fan. And that's another thing that will definitely, as much as I financially can, we'll keep that in as long as possible, just for life health.
Yeah, that's great.
It's amazing.
It's so
I was
important.
just talking to Kurt before our podcast today, and I have a client of mine who, this is basically just TRT and GH. He's an older guy, and just a good diet, and how much his blood work, his health. He looks 10 years freaking younger than what he did before. I mean, it's.
I'm trying to convince my dad that TRT and or just HRT in general would be really good.
I hope
for
I'm
him,
okay to share his
aside
picture,
from
but this is
around.
him. This is my client.
Tell people how old he is.
That's phenomenal.
That's great.
He's in his. I think he's in his 60s.
Yeah.
Shit, that's amazing.
Yeah. See, and that's just proof that, like, you don't need to, like, have this aged life.
Yeah,
You can live a better life.
the whole thing with the everybody just says, "Oh, you're getting older." Well, your hormone, yep, that's going to happen when you get older. It doesn't need to be that way. The reason that we feel that way, the reason that we start looking like like the classic idea of elderly, is because our hormones are dropping. Just supplement with hormones, and you don't have to look like that. You don't have to feel like that. You don't have to live a life of despair just because you're getting older. It's crazy. Yeah, I think it's great, Amy, that you talked about your TRT protocol, because again, it's an underserved market for females. It's so stigmatized for females. I mean, it's stigmatized for everybody, but it's 10 times more stigmatized for females. And I've seen through thousands of women, and my clinic treats a lot of women, and I've seen through thousands of women just the dramatic improvement in quality of life. It's miraculous.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I won't lie. Like, and I was definitely nervous to start that, and even looking at my own lab levels, I was still nervous.
Yeah.
Tremblin replacement therapy.
Yeah. It's just stigma. Like, and people like women are scared. And then when a lot of our patients, our female patients, go and tell their doctors freak out. They're like, "You're taking testosterone." It's like just a sheer lack of education.
What's your dose?
But they'll give birth control to a 12-year-old. Like that.
That's exactly. We don't have a problem giving people hormones because we do it when they're 12 with birth control. And you know what that does is it interrupts the HGHs and it reduces their testosterone. So now we have slightly chemically castrated women.
Fully castrated women. I mean, you're not ovulating if you're taking birth control. And I think women don't understand that, and they take it. I mean, again, with so many of the nutritional patients I work with, like being on hormonal birth control for extended periods of time. I mean, it's just it messes with all your hormones, and these women get into their 30s and they start having all this cascade of symptoms, or even worse, they start having any type of menopausal symptoms, and their doctor wants to put them back on birth control. Oh, like, we'll fix this with birth control again. I'm like, we have no problem dosing out birth control to people, even though there are known risk factors and like really easily documented risk factors that don't exist with HRT. Yeah, and don't even start on like the Women's Health Initiative and like the fallacy of all of that type of. I mean, you guys have covered that on your podcast, Ryan. That, I mean, that's devastating to women's health. I mean, setback. It's horrible what has happened with the misconstrued data from that study and what it's done to set back like women's health in general. Is just, it's devastating.
When you really dive into it, it's absolutely crazy. I'm glad we did those episodes. It was great. Amy, we gotta have you on the show sometime for sure.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, the big issue is Mother Nature wants us. Mother Nature wants us to die at 35, so it's like that's why our hormones deteriorate and shit. We've basically the life expectancy. The only reason it's extended is we've basically changed the conditions of our environment through all this modulation, and we've got better healthcare, that sort of thing. It's like we've basically artificially extended human life expectancy beyond where nature wants it to stop. So in order to have the best quality of life, we need to supplement with hormones because our body isn't even programmed to produce adequate levels of these after that certain, I suppose, programmed death. Yeah.
No,
Very
money.
well said.
I've not had any symptoms of virilization, and that's something that is very concerning to me. My femininity is very important to me, and that's not something I'm willing to sacrifice for anything. So, I'm fortunate to have. I very closely monitor my hormonal levels. I mean, obviously during prep, things change quite a bit with what's acceptable as far as hormones go. But I definitely don't. That's not the goal. Like, I'm not willing to push it to that point for any other type of goal.
I think Kurt asked what your dose of testosterone
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
just great.
Yeah.
What, 3 milligrams?
Yep. So I'm on 3 milligrams a week.
Okay, that's standard.
Of injectable. What's the route of administration?
Injectable. Yeah,
It's just a
injectable.
different. The compounded pharmacy just makes it a different concentration.
Yeah.
You can actually dose it.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I use, I mean, I have the 0.3 milliliter syringes, so it's easy to, pull up that 0.12
What
is
ester is
easy
it?
on a tiny little syringe.
What
I'm sorry?
ester is it? What ester?
Cypionate.
Okay.
Nice.
Have you experimented with because I mean that's only getting you a 14, and that would, I mean, 14. Have you experimented with a little higher doses to see if it works better for you?
I have, that's actually, so it is I got my testosterone back up a little bit higher. So when I tested at the beginning of prep, I was still doing compounded oral tablets, which is what I had been doing for several years. So I actually switched to the injectable when I think that perhaps the compounding pharmacy, I don't know what happened. Like my levels of testosterone are always very consistent, closer to 40, which was great. So seeing that 14, I think that perhaps the batch of compounded tablets was maybe just not potent, or there was something off.
Was it?
So that's when I
Undecanoate?
decided, like, what, I just,
That
don't
was
wanna
on
mess
the
with the tablets
tablets.
anymore. Mhm.
That
What
14
were
was
the tablets? What were the tablets? Undecanoate?
Yeah, I don't know what they were, honestly, because
Yeah.
it was they were compounded test DHEA. So, and I just think maybe the batch or something. So I was like, I was feeling uncomfortable with the oral route anyway, even though it had been highly recommended. It was a longevity doctor who had originally prescribed that. So I had some conversations with them about that, and just it was my preference to want to switch to injectables. And I feel like they're just like, they were afraid to like offer that to a woman. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, like I'm
It's just
fine with
stigma.
that. Like I don't mind
Yeah.
injecting.
The Undecanoate is not liver toxic.
Yeah.
It's just, it absorbs to the gastrointestinal tract because it's such a long ester, but it's just not efficient. You
Yeah.
lose so much of it.
Like even males,
Yeah.
they were saying that even 400 milligrams twice a day, because it's very fast acting, even though it's an undecanoate ester.
So is it low
It's-
absorption rate, or?
It's not even 400 milligrams twice a day for some people isn't enough.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like Kurt said, it just doesn't absorb very well.
yeah. When I was getting my TRT recently for everything going on, like the endocrinology team at the hospital were trying to push androgel on me, and I'm not rubbing gel on my balls. Like no. And I fought them on it civilly, and eventually I got my own way in the end, which is testosterone and F8 from a compound. So,
Dad, and you don't want that shit rubbing off on your
partner,
girlfriend,
yeah. Well, that was my argument.
your,
I was
your
like, I don't-
dog, your cat.
yeah, that was my big argument. And then also, I
Well,
said
what are
I've
your
got
balls
sensitive
doing
skin.
to your dog?
Oh, you like teabag your dog.
You know what I'm saying.
When they get past the peanut butter, like the
Yeah.
When it's not orally available anyway, so you don't want them licking it.
Yeah.
I'm not
And then the
rubbing
next-
a gel.
yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it was gel, and then like, oh, what about tablets? And I'm like, no, just like injectable is most efficient. My body's assimilated to absorbing it. I mean, I've been assisted, even though the first like however many years were just basically self-administered TRT. Is equipped to processing this. Like my body's well acclimated to it. Just why not continue this? It's And we got the most data on injectable testosterone. I mean, that was the first route of administration, wasn't it, when testosterone was developed? So it's like, why change the method if that's our tried and true? Yeah.
Yeah, JT said doctors in Australia showed me the program they use for prescriptions. And Nandrolone wasn't on the list, only Sustanon gel and
Yeah.
Randron test.
You've got-
Undecanoate.
Yeah, you've got to go privately.
It's a great
There's-
drug.
The whole issue in Australia is it's like if it's not PBS approved, which is kind of like their, I guess, board of administration, then you can't get that treatment unless if you outsource privately, which is what I've had to do, go through private specialists and stuff, then you can have a bit more say because you're paying top dollar. But I mean, you get the treatment, the form of treatment that you want then, but it's just more hoops you have to jump through. And Australia's really stringent with TRT. It's not as easy as say the States. No, they didn't give me Randron. They said that they didn't want to do that because of the volatility of the peaks and stuff. And I said, well, that was my other argument. I said, well, give me testosterone and enthate, and I can dose it more frequently and get smaller peaks and troughs. And they didn't like the idea of it, but they were rainbow badge wearing weirdos. So yeah, it was kind of like the whole like left wing fucking, I don't know, department in the hospital. I wasn't keen on it.
Mm.
As soon as I saw the rainbow badges on the shirts, I'm like, oh, these guys are going to be difficult. I literally knew the moment I saw that. And not being judgmental towards the left wing. Like, it's just, when you see badges like that, you know, like, there's going to be problems. Yeah.
All right, guys, I got to wrap this up. I got a call coming up. Another interview after this. Folks,
Thanks for coming, everyone.
Yeah, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you